Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Spellbinder doing a report on the Ron Paul scandal that's taking place right now in Iowa. It appears that they're going to try to block Ron Paul's win by threatening the caucus in Iowa that they will not be number one choice anymore for candidates if they allow Ron Paul to win. If this is not blackmail and criminal, I don't know what is. Here's the article that goes along with this. Republican insider GOP establishment planning to subvert Iowa to prevent Ron Paul win. They're going to keep him from getting the number one spot because they are concerned. That's right. They're concerned that somebody that's not an insider with the New World Order thuggeries and cronyism, that, they're afraid. They're afraid they're going to lose their power. And we knew this was going to happen, though. As Ron Paul supporters, we knew this was going to happen because they don't want him to win, because it'll be the end of their reign for the last couple hundred years. The Federal Reserve will lose its oomph, and then it won't be no more. This is the way it goes. The Republican strategist Dee Binky revealed during a radio show appearance last night that the GOP establishment has resolved to prevent Ron Paul from winning tonight's Iowa primary by offering sweetheart deals to move large voting blocks to vote for Romney or Santorum. That's right, those are their two choices. Romney, who's an insider with the New World Order, he'll be a perfect choice. And Santorum, well, he's known to be an ultra-liberal Republican. He's a rhino, basically. He's a Republican in name only, as they say in Rhino. The host of the show refers to state GOP insiders showing great concern that Ron Paul is performing well in Iowa because they fear a Paul win would undermine Iowa's position as being the first Republican primary. He implies that influential members of the Republican establishment within the state are offering sweetheart deals to promote voting blocks in key swing districts in order to sway the results and ensure Ron Paul doesn't win. Despite the fact that this is blatantly unethical and, if bribery was involved, without doubt illegal, the host dismisses such conduct as just politics. Yeah, crony politics. What it comes down to. It is possible that the party apparatus here could be slightly asking those district chairmen to start swaying some important caucus members over the anti-Paul side, which may end up being Santorum. Do you see a scenario like that happening? He asked Binky. I've talked to the party officials. I know they're concerned about it, said Binky, adding Ron Paul doesn't do us any good in Iowa, doesn't do the country any good. We'll never get there, so let's figure out what we need to do. That's right, we need to put a criminal in charge so he can make Obama look better. Yeah, whoever takes Obama's place is going to make Obama look like Obama made Bush, and so on and so forth. Bernanke said the GOP establishment was concerned about splitting the vote between Santorum and Romney because it could increase the chance of a Ron Paul win, remarking, "We really don't want Ron Paul to win because he's the constitutionalist and the American. We can't have that. We're communists and socialists and communions. We love to rule and control people." That's what they're saying right there. I kind of think they're going to keep him from getting the number one spot because they're concerned, said Binky, adding that the party apparatus were tight-knit and trying to figure out how to deal with the Ron Paul bots. Yeah, we're called Ron Paul bots because we believe in mom, baseball, and apple pie and American history as it was, and not this New World Order, one world government, antichrist thing that they're trying to push upon us. An arrogant characterization of Ron Paul's supporters. They're not going to want him to get number one. They're not going to want him to get number one. It's very bad for Iowa. It's terrible, said Binky, adding that she hopes for her friends that Paul is not victorious. It's necessary to emphasize the fact that Dee Binky's is no means decrying the subversion of the Iowa primary. She is openly anti-Paul and is blatantly advocating that he'd be prevented from winning Iowa by means of establishment insiders exerting undue influence on voters, despite the fact that only last week she was decrying the threat posed by rampant voter fraud. Obviously, Iowa election officials recently announced that they were moving the site of a final vote count to a secret, undisclosed location. It's like Pelosi, let's pass this bill so we can read what's in it. A factor that will only increase the concerns about vote fraud being used to defranchise the anti-establishment candidate like Ron Paul. Isn't that amazing? As we have previously documented, the GOP establishment is so terrified of Ron Paul performing well in Iowa that influential Republican officials had attempted to all but sabotage the legitimacy of the Iowa primary. Iowa Governor Terry Branstad rhetorically undermined the sanctity of his own state's poll by encouraging people in the event of a Paul victory to ignore the will of the voters and instead concentrate on who comes second and third. That's right, we'll take Tweedledee and Tweedledum over the real candidate, which Ron Paul is a dark horse candidate. He will win in the end. People are going to look at who comes in second and who comes in third, said Branstad, adding if Mitt Romney comes in a strong second, it definitely helps him going on to New Hampshire and the other states. Comments taken means that the Republicans should ignore Ron Paul, according to Politico's Jonathan Martin and Alexander Burns. Establishment media talking heads have also resolved to ignore the results of the primary if Ron Paul is victorious. If Ron Paul wins Iowa, we'll just take it out. Politico's chief columnist Roger Simon told MSNBC last month. See how they are? See what they're doing? They're trying to rob us of our candidate, the people's candidate. They want you to choose a New World Orderist. They don't want you, some guy that's going to be on knee pads to the Federal Reserve and other banksters in the world. This is what's going on, people. And you're going to get to see it right here. Here, let's see what this says.
Here's my question then. When you say that people make up their mind that night, what I have heard from some people, longtime Iowans, they tell me that in many of these districts, especially the key swing districts, the district chairman and sort of the party apparatus in these districts hold a lot of sway, and they're sitting on sort of a cachet of caucusers who will move the way they are suggested to move once the district chairman gets a sense of where the room is going. Is that your experience as well?
Absolutely. And that's why folks can't predict these things, because, it is very local, and these, they have that bit of, the party still matters in Iowa. In some states, maybe not as much, but in Iowa, it really does. I mean, and if this is like, hey, buddy, I need your help here with this candidate. He's going to do this for agriculture. He's going to do that for business. Yeah. I need you. I need your vote. Well, you know what? That's his buddy, Ted, and he may go ahead and go with Ted because it helps Ted in his position, and then Ted can help him get the goodies later. I mean, it just is what it is. I mean, it's a very local game, and it's not the way it is with everyone.
Well, yeah, that's politics, sure. So let's speculate a little bit here, because I've sensed from some of the party apparatus in Iowa that there's some grave concern about Ron Paul showing very well in the caucuses here, because there's concern, frankly, that Iowa will caucus itself into oblivion, and the party will say, listen, if Ron Paul is what Iowa picks for us, or gives Ron Paul this kind of prominence, maybe Iowa shouldn't be first in the nation for our party next time around. And we know that the Iowa caucuses are important to this state and to the economy. Is it possible that the party apparatus here could be silently asking those district chairmen to start swaying some important caucus members over to the anti-Paul side, which may end up being Santorum being the beneficiary of that? Is that, and again, we're just speculating, but do you see a scenario like that happening?
No, I'm not speculating. I've talked to the party officials. I know they were concerned about it because, that takes away their significance. And Iowa, they want to keep number one in the nation. And then if you, nominate someone who doesn't have a snowball's chance, that's not good for them. And they know that. So now they're like, all right, you know what, let's cut the and let's get to the real issue here. Our relevance is important. The country's relevance is important. Ron Paul doesn't do us any good in Iowa, doesn't do the country any good. We'll never get there. So let's figure out what we need to do. So, yeah, those conversations I know for a fact are going on. So, yeah, you are very right and astute to realize that.
Where do you think, from a practical point of view, where do you think Republican establishment types would direct those votes to go? Would it be to a Rick Santorum, or would it be more to an establishment figure like a Mitt Romney?
you know, Steve, I just think it's a huge struggle right now because I've talked to both sides. They're like, you know, and we think Romney, you know, we want Iowa to pick the winner, and we think Romney will be the winner. But it's like, oh, but Santorum's worked so hard, and he came to my church, and he came to my diner, and I really like him, and we think he represents Iowa. So there's a real split there. So they're, you know, they're concerned about the Ron Paul thing because if they split that, Ron Paul could be number one, and they really don't want Ron Paul to win. There's a huge concern with that because his folks are like, you know, the kids at the schools, you know, they're just got this protest vote. I mean, you know how it is when you're in college. You're like, I'm down with the man, you know.
Right.
I just want to go against everything, you know, and he riles that up. And that's, in a way, that's good because it gets
Is that different
involved.
than you were what, national chairman of young Republicans or college Republicans? Is this a different crowd? Because
Correct.
The average age of the caucus goers in the Republican caucus in Iowa, it was Wow. Actually, that number is 60. So the jail bait is 50. Right?
I'll be honest with you. I saw some video from last year's caucuses. I think the average age was dead.
Yeah, well, yeah, you get it. So everyone's probably going to know a lot of those Ron Paul people coming in because, well, you know, they'll be coming from schools.
And they're going to be.
And I don't know. I kind of think they're going to be able to keep them from getting the number one spot because they are concerned and they get that. And they, you know, they had so much change with the schedule with, you know, Florida just making everything crazy, you know, and so Iowa knows that, you know, they're kind of on the chopping block here. They could be. So that's very important to them. So I'm sure that there are a lot of discussions and trying to figure out, you know, where the votes are going to go. And I will say this, and I'm positive that the party apparatus is very tightly knit like it is in Indiana. It's very similar. So they're trying to figure it out right now. I mean, between Romney and Santorum and how they deal with the Paul bots. And, you know, they're not going to want him to get number one. It's very bad for Iowa. It's terrible for Iowa. In fact, if he wins, the biggest loser is absolutely Iowa. So I hope for my friends at the Iowa GOP, I hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah, I just want to make sure.
There you got it. That's what they're doing. They're going to take away the people's want. Ron Paul, the only one that's really a constitutionalist and an American, take him away and give you Santorum or Mitt Romney, the two who Mitt Romney made a health care for Obama. I mean, what? I don't know what they're thinking. You people out there, if you don't vote for Ron Paul, you're voting for the enemy of this country. You're not voting Ron Paul. Because the rest of them are nothing but shrills. They're shrills to these New World Orderist banksters that's running everything. These several 20 families in the world, they're obligated. They bow to them. They bow to the Queen. I mean, and you don't see Ron Paul doing any of that. He's been consistent. He's been the same. He hadn't changed one lick of anything he said over 30 years. He's been. I mean, if the guy doesn't flip-flop, he must be the right one. The rest of them all have flip-flop in their history. Lots of flip-flop. I mean, from everyone. They all flip-flop back and forth on issues. And Ron Paul, all he wants to do is cover the issues, and all they want to do is bring up trash on him from 20, 30 years ago and say, look, you said something racist in here, which he didn't say a damn thing racist. It was a newsletter with his name on it. And he had people under him. And he was busy at the time. He was a doctor. You know, doctors are busy. Delivering babies is his job. So what's going on here is we're being robbed again of the right candidate. Again, he was up last time. He was the right candidate. They robbed us from him again and gave us Obama-nation. Now they're going to turn around and try to give us someone else, Mitt Romney or Santorum, who's going to turn around and make Obama look good. I mean, Obama already makes Bush look good, makes Bush look like he didn't do a thing wrong, and he was walking on water. That's how bad Obama was when he got, or is actually, he still is. But we'll find out after tonight. Tonight they're going to make the vote. 3:05 p.m. Eastern time now, and we'll find out here shortly what's going to happen. Until next time, this is Spellbinders reporting on the robbing of our candidate from us and giving us a puppet. Until next time, this is Spellbinder saying be good or be good at it, and vote Ron Paul, please, if you want to save the country. Thank you, and good day.